Good morning, and thanks for a great weekend. And let's be looking forward to a great week ahead. This morning, I want to talk just a little bit about coming events. This Sunday is our Thanksgiving Sunday. We'll spend a lot of time Friday and Saturday passing out flyers and inviting people. And the goal is to, of course, have church on Sunday, but we're having a different kind of a service. We're having an outdoor service. Thank the Lord for the weather here in Southern California, if all goes well anyway. We'll meet outside and just have everybody together in one big service. We won't be having a normal adult Sunday school. We're starting church at 10 with a big breakfast together. And so all the adult classes are supposed to bring, like my class, people rotate who brings food. We're hoping everybody will bring food this Sunday. And we have 9 different adult Sunday school classes. And so if everybody brings food and then they gather together, around 10 we'll eat, and then around 10:30 or a little sooner, depending on timing, we'll start singing and start the church service. But it's a Thanksgiving service. Thanksgiving is Thursday, but we just want a crowd of people to stop in the midst of everything and say God's been good, and how thankful we are to God. Now, I'm thankful for the elections. I'm thankful for people who are pro-life, pro-Israel, pro-gun, pro-freedom, pro-religion, pro-Bible. I'm thankful we got a bunch of these people elected. But if none of that happened, I'm thankful for the cross. I'm thankful for heaven. I'm thankful for the Bible. I'm thankful for the promise that Jesus is coming again. I'm thankful for the promise that if I die before the trumpet sounds, I'll be instantly in the presence of God. And it's a good thing to be a child of God. Let everything that hath breath praise ye the Lord. And giving thanks always for all things, the Apostle Paul wrote. So this coming Sunday, we're just going to it's going to be a big Thanksgiving service. Now, they'll be preaching the gospel. We're giving away groceries and turkeys, grocery cards, gift cards, so people can buy what they prefer. Grocery gift cards. Maybe you want to buy a gift card and bring it ahead of time. That'd be great. Or a turkey, that would be great. If you want to just donate cash, that's of course appropriate. We'll get somebody to buy grocery gift cards. But so we just want to be a help to folks, and so we're Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're going to be around the communities distributing flyers and reminding people that this Sunday they could come and have a Thanksgiving service. But it's a day of thanks and praise. Got to have some fun. We got some bouncers up for the kids, and we got some other things. A good breakfast. So the adult classes bring breakfast. Then we'll have church. Then we'll give away groceries and grocery gift cards somewhere along the way in there. Bring somebody, invite somebody, and that'd be great. Now, then on Wednesday before that next Wednesday, at church we're going to have just an evening. There'll be Bible and testimonies of what we're thankful for. Just going to be. We used to do it on Thanksgiving morning, but with people traveling and all, we found that more people get involved. We do it Wednesday night. And so Wednesday night, we're just going to take time to thank God and give him some public thanks and a little preaching. And then Thanksgiving Day, and then we're off toward Christmas. Now, the month of December, our adult classes are going through lessons on the people surrounding the story of the first Advent, the Nativity. And then in January is our missions conference. And so missions, the whole month is on missions. And each week we're studying in our adult Sunday schools one of Paul the Apostle's missionary journeys. And in the second weekend of January, we'll have our missions conference. But before it'd be great to end the year in the black. If God touched your heart to do something financially. I remember our home church in Redding. I was a young Christian, just a young Christian. I remember Pastor Blue saying, we're a little behind in our faith promise giving. And I never had any money, just working at a Taco Bell or something to pay my college bill. But now I understand a little of the feeling you get toward the end of the year and wanting all the bills paid and everything cared for. And God's done it for 42 years, but I'll just let you know, you could be a blessing, and God could use you to help keep everything together. If you want to do something, it's Christmas time. My wife and I were in Costco Friday, and there's stuff, just stuff, and booze. I mean, cartloads of booze. People are buying booze. And I think if we could get the money spent on booze and spend it on the gospel, starting churches and feeding the poor, printing Bibles, sending missionaries around the world, what a blessing it'd be. But the world's pouring their money into what they love. And I want to encourage you, pour some money into what you love, and let's be generous financially. God has been good to us. And so I want to encourage you to take some time to think about what you might give. And then I wanted to say a word. This is, I'm a tablet person. This is my iPad, and this is my screensaver, my wife and I, up in the mountains. And that was, I don't know when that was. It was some years ago. But we were in the Swiss Alps, and just mountains, be all every direction you can see. There's just, but I'm not anti-device. This is being recorded on my phone, and so I'm not anti-screen, but I am this, and we're going to talk about it some during the early part of 2025. Our kids are on screens way too much. And between video games and cartoons and all the entertainment things, there's this constant, it's not good mentally, it's a biological, it's a real thing. It's not good for our kids' brains. Read about it online. I'm not a scientist, but that's what every scientist agrees. These screens in front of young minds are very dangerous. Anybody who's had problems with seizures, they'll be told, stay off screens. Screens affect your brain. They're not good for your brain. So number one. Number two, seeing these screens all the time, it's constant change, constant. And what happens is nobody has to try to focus. Nobody has to pay attention. You know, we used to say, pay attention. You'd hear that from the teachers, your parents, pay attention. Nobody has to pay attention because something's always grabbing their mind. And we've got a generation that doesn't know how to pay attention. They don't know how to sit down with a book and read a book. And my children, we rarely had TV. Once in a while, here and there, there'd be cable or whatever. And if there's Olympics or important games, we'd go to my parents, and my dad would have the ball game on. But not very often we'd have TV going. And almost never, of course, it was not many screens then like there are now. But I wanted my kids to love books. And so from infancy, they had their own libraries. Each kid, we'd built their own library up. So by the time they left the house, they had boxes of books. Good books, books that we'd researched, books that we'd read, classic children's books. And some of them were politically incorrect because things back in the 18 and 1900s weren't politically correct. They were normal. And my kids got books. But my kids would lay down, we'd tell them, children, preteen years, smaller, younger kids, afternoon, take a nap. You're going to lay down? You're going to lay down for an hour. I don't care if you sleep, but you're going to lay down. You can lay down and read a book. Now, my thinking is if you can lay in bed for an hour, hour and a half with a book and not go to sleep, you're not tired. For me, I lay down in bed with a book. I'm not getting very far. But I wanted my kids to be able to focus, to put their attention on something. There's nothing on this page jumping out. I need to read and focus my attention on the words. We're raising children who do not know how to focus their attention. They don't know how to pay attention, and that's hurting us. There's a biological problem. There's an attention problem. And third, there's a self-discipline problem. I'm in the back seat with my brother, and we are driving to Iowa from California, 2,000 miles. How many days? Couple of days. Travel, 2.5 days, whatever it was. And we didn't have a screen, and we couldn't fight, and we couldn't cause trouble because we caused any trouble. My parents would cause more trouble. And we'd play little things in the back seat. We'd look at books. We'd sit and look out the window. We'd make faces at each other. But self-control. We've got, you go in the grocery store. You didn't need a tablet or a phone or a screen in front of you for the child in the cart to be good. The child learned. The parents taught the child to be under control, self Self-discipline, to discipline yourself. Our kids aren't learning that. Our kids are learning no self-discipline because as soon as they start getting fidgety, mom or dad's stuffing a screen in their face. And so there's a biological problem, there's an attention span problem, and then there's a self-discipline problem. Kids should be able to sit. Some of you are too young to know, but you that are older, you know, children are to be seen and not heard. There's a bunch of adults in a room. No way as a child would you walk in and interrupt or start talking in a group of adults. Kids were to be seen and not heard. And you ought to be able to sit in the corner in a room full of adults talking and shut up. Every child needs to know how to sit and be self-disciplined and control their big mouth and be quiet, or to sit quiet and not talk. There ought to be something. But see, screens are eliminating from infancy, developing a child's ability to be quiet, a child's ability to self-discipline, to say to themselves. Proverbs says, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls. And so, you see, screens are destroying that because kids don't have to have rule over their own spirit. And as soon as you take that screen down, I want this, jabber, jabber here, interrupt there, mommy, this. Can I go? Can I stop? Can I do this? Can I play? Can I watch a video game? Can I watch TV? Can I watch cartoons? They have no ability to sit still and be quiet. Self-discipline is maybe the most vital thing a child needs to learn growing up. To discipline themselves, to say no to shoplifting, no to drugs and liquor, no to the wrong friends, to say when mom calls you, you stop whatever it is you're doing and you go straight to mom. You're out in the yard playing and you get called, you go straight to your dad or mom, whoever called you. The teacher says, all right, everybody sit here, turn to this page in your book and read that book. So you do it. What did you do? You stop, you open the book, you read the page in the book. Why? Self-discipline. A society that is not self-disciplined is a society that has to be ruled. And tyrants are necessary in a society without discipline. And so screens, there's so much wrong with screens. But if you're a parent, I want to urge you, shut the screens off, get them out of your kids' hands. Put a time limit on it. Now, I mean, teenagers especially, once they get, but the little ones, all the way up, everybody needs time limits. You might say to your teenager, you can, as soon as you read your Bible for a solid hour or 30 minutes, whatever, then you can play a video game for 30 minutes and make the trade, Bible first, then a video game. If you need to bribe them a little bit to read their Bible, do that. But you know one of the problems with screens? And sometimes mom and dad, they love their own screens. They're always on a screen, always got to be out. You go to a restaurant and look around the room. There's couples that are on a date. They're both looking at their phones. I don't know if they're texting each other or what. Now, my wife and I sometimes will have a screen out, but I try to not have a screen out unless she and I are looking at something together. We're planning a trip. We're looking at dates. What dates are these things going on? So we're looking at a calendar together. What's going on in our next couple of months? But it needs to be us together on the screen. And I'm not saying we never look at it or never answer a phone. I try to not answer the phone when my wife and I are together. We never answered the phone before. The phone was on the wall at home or the phone was on the desk at the office. And so if I'm at a restaurant, there's no phone there. But discipline. See, if we're going to teach our kids to get off their phones, mom's got to put her phone down. Put it on silence or mute and put it where it won't ring. And put it somewhere, and once an hour, go look and see if you got any important phone calls. What if somebody died? They're sure to be dead in an hour. And you do whatever you want, self-discipline. But if you parents don't get a grip on your screens, your children will never get a good grip on their screens. And it's important, mom and dad, interact with parents, interact with each other, interact with their children, interact with their way. Look, have you looked at a bird lately? Have you walked outside? Have you looked at the clouds, the snow? We had snow on the mountains, not a lot, but a little. Open your eyes. Go for a bike ride. Play a table game. Play chutes and ladders with your children and not on a screen. And we've got a couple of games that are better played on a tablet because there's so many moving pieces that as soon as you bump it, they all move. But get off screens. Now, with all that being said, I don't have any time left to talk about what I was going to talk about here today. But I'll just say one thing. Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8, it talks about our hearing and our reading and our watching. What is it that is before our eyes? What is it that's in our mind and on our heart? And Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brethren, whatsoever, I'm going to find it here, Philippians, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are pure and true and just. There's 8 things. In verse 8, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, that's 1, honest, that's 2, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are good, are lovely, that's 5 things. Whatsoever things are of good report, that's 6. If there be any virtue, that's 7. If there be any praise, that's 8. Think on these things. Think on these things. It'll change our world if we could control our thinking. To just control what we're talking about, control what we listen to, whether it be music or on a device, the books we read. I would say magazines we read, newspapers we read, don't have hardly any of those anymore. Everything's online. Be careful. Be so very careful of what you think on. Think on these things. You know, you listen to enough news, it'll discourage you. And I believe it. I believe there's an evil something underlying in America. And I believe there are evil powers, and I think they are demonically ordered. And I think Satan is in on it, and I think they're against Israel, they're against babies, they're against families and homes. Satan loves confusion, so all this gender confusion, that's satanic. That is satanic, because he loves confusion, and God loves order. God loves everything in its place, and so, and I believe all that's going on all around us. From Sacramento to Washington, D.C., I believe that evil is rampant, and God can stop any of it he wants, or God can let it run wild if he wants. It's God's call. I do think when Christians love God and seek God and pray for God's mercy and help and love our church and love our Bible and love our God, I think God maybe has more mercy on that nation. But the fact is, there is so much evil going on, underlying. I heard Alex Jones, and he's a big-time conspiracyist, and I think it's all true. I used to make fun of conspiracist people. Now I am one, and I've got my aluminum hat and everything. But I don't care if it's Lincoln's assassination or Kennedy's assassination, or where's the Ark of the Covenant, or did Indiana Jones or Tom Cruise ever really find and do? And I'm just about sold on all these conspiracies. There's too much. But you know what? I can't listen to a lot of that stuff. It'll depress me. Proverbs says, as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. I can't sit and listen to a bunch of bad news. Hey, I'll tell you the good news. All those evil people, they couldn't move an inch without God's willing to let them move. All the corrupt plans of evil men for our nation, God's got it all in check. He knows exactly what's going on. And I'll tell you what else we're thinking on. John 14, Jesus is coming again. Go over to Revelation 19, 20, and 21 and read about Jesus coming again on white horses with us. And read about and coming to earth and the New Jerusalem coming down and us living and reigning with Christ for 1,000 years, and then a judgment, and then reigning with Christ for eternity. Hey, that's what we're thinking about. I believe all this evil, but I don't want to meditate on it. I believe there's all kinds of corruption and evil in the world, but I don't want to think on all of it. If it's not under my authority, if it's not something I can change, why would I fill my mind with it? He says, think on these things. Think on these things. And then he says, those things which you have both seen and heard, and you've received and heard and seen in me do, and the God of peace shall be with you. Oh, we need that God of peace. And the God of peace is nearer to those whose meditations are right. So guard, don't get too much bad news in front of you. You probably don't need to see a war movie going to bed at night and have your mind all stirred up with death and blood and evil and let's tell you, it's a good life, but it is an evil world we're in. Now this week, Monday to Friday, good week. Let's live for God. Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, our Bible study. Get some flyers and tracts, pass them out. Sunday morning, big day outside, starting at 10 o'clock now, not 9:30 like normal, 10 o'clock. We'll have breakfast together. and give away some grocery gift cards and give away some turkeys. It'll just be a good week. A good week. Pray. Would you pray? Pray for our country. Pray for those advising our president and president to be. Somebody's giving these guys advice. Pray for them. Pray the right advice gets to these people. And pray for mercy on this old sin-sick country of ours. I love what I get to do. I love our country. I love being an American. And what a privilege. But it's a country in need of God. So pray. Pray for your country. Pray for your church, your pastor's wife. Pray for your state. Pray for the blessing of God on his churches across the country.